In the world around us, there are things known and there are things unknown. And in between are the doors of perception. And the doorways of perception are now open. It's time for a paranormal point of view. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your humble host, Dennis Carroll, and I welcome you once again to another episode of Paranormal Point of View, episode 29. Tonight we deal with ancient books of forbidden knowledge. How does that sound? Huh? It's going to be an interesting show, hopefully. Want to welcome you all as we gather in the grotto tonight, or day, wherever it might be where you're at. It's been a very rainy day here. I mean, I feel like I'm living in the middle of the Amazon rainforest here for a while. I mean, we really got some rain on us, but I think it was needed. Yep, and I want to say hello to everybody. Hello, Juno, Kyle Smith, Aussie Sue, Catherine, Wizard Moon. Let's see who else we got here. Richard. Hello, Richard. And Kyle Smith and Little Gilroy, Midwest Night Watchers, and the ever lovely Shira. Good to have you here, dear. And Sweet Pea, and let's see who else we got gathering in the grotto tonight. This is a grotto, you know. That's another name for a cave. This is a man cave, I guess you might say. It definitely is. But yeah, we've had some. It's been an interesting week, definitely, and we had a very good turnout the other night for the 2-hour seminar. It was great. We did some really good stuff with that. The seminar, hopefully, cast the darkness out of our lives for a while. Anyway, absolutely. And I'm just gonna share something with you a little bit with all of you out there. Every time I do one of these seminars, I get a lot of bad feedback, okay? Because some people evidently want to make me out to be somewhat of a Bible thumper. They say I talk too much about that kind of stuff, but that's just me, okay? That's my training. I'm going to talk about that. That's just the way that goes, but it is in relation to the paranormal and the supernatural. I am, after all, a doctor of metaphysics. And to me, that's fascinating stuff. And the metaphysics, by the way, I'll explain that to you right quick if you don't understand exactly what metaphysics are. It has to deal with the unseen aspects of this universe and how they affect the seen things, which is us, okay? And that's just basically rudimentary terms, what metaphysics means. But I'm also, I've trained in theology and divinity and philosophy. So those things definitely play a big part in some of my seminars. Absolutely. But as a lot of you out there know, I am presently working on a book called The God Game, and it is about the fallen. And we're going to be talking about some of their interests tonight in the ancient books of forbidden knowledge. We're going to cover a few of them. We don't have time tonight to cover all of them. There are thousands. Trust me. I won't say this about myself. If you might not know too well. I am all about books. Okay, not just because I'm a writer. I've always been a bookworm. Okay, I have read in my lifetime thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books. I have thousands of books around me where I sit tonight. Uh, some of them will give you some definitely good information. But then on the other hand, there are some that will definitely give you bad information. And that's the ones we're going to be talking a little bit about tonight. Hello, Luana. Good to have you here. Or so. Ida. We're slowly beginning to gather. And hello, Roger Blair. Good to have you here, sir. And yeah, books. are very beneficial. I have said this before. Some of my best friends that I have ever known were books. We're going to soon be talking a lot about this book, Dracula, the Undead by Dacre Stoker. Oh, yeah. I'm in the process of reading it right now, as a matter of fact. And as you know, I'm a big fan of the original Dracula, and I'm really excited to talk to this guy. Because this is going to be very, very interesting conversation. Absolutely. Gerald and I will be definitely getting deep into that. Absolutely. But yeah, books have a lot of information. Books they give you other perspectives. They're very interesting in many ways. I could not see a world or universe that did not have books in it. Okay, that's just to me. That's the way I look at things. Hello, Crystal. Good to have you here. By the way, thank you for that sticker last Wednesday night, Crystal. I appreciate that. My feed was moving so fast, I lost out on my place on it. But thank you so much for that, dear. It is greatly appreciated. I want you to know, I won't say it to everyone, whatever you help me monetarily wise is greatly, greatly appreciated. Absolutely. Not just that, but your support as well. We are fast approaching 900 subscribers. We're like about 25 more subscriptions. So we're getting there. Okay. Absolutely. We're getting there. And I can only thank you all because you have really helped me out with that. Absolutely. Your support has been tremendous. Hello, Sweet Pea and Donna Spencer and John Fortman, Coco. And I really appreciate all of what you've done. And by the way, all of the stuff is in the mail, so most of you should be getting the rest of the packages, if not today, by sometime this weekend, okay? And that should be about it for right now. We got a lot of mailings going out. And we do have very few left of the gold Stars of the Seven Archangels by Solomon. Okay. We're going to be talking about Mr. Solomon tonight, King Solomon. Absolutely. We got a lot of ground to cover tonight. And I think this is a fascinating subject. Are any of you out there familiar with the movie Mist? Are any of you familiar with that? That's M-I-S-T, Mist. I think it's spelled M-Y-S-T. Are any of you familiar with that? I used to have one of the kind, first edition, usually rare old texts of occult tones and such, had quite the collection. That's interesting, or so I would love to have seen that. Absolutely. I have, and I'm not just not trying to be a braggart here. I hate braggarts. They brag on stuff all the time. It's boring. But I do have one of the largest occult libraries in the southeastern United States. I have a lot of books. Okay, I need to catalog them all one day. That would be a job I might not never live long enough to do. So many of them. You read the Stephen King short story? Okay, all right, John Foreman. The movie was very good. It was very interesting. Well, the reason I'm bringing it up, it was based on one of my favorite authors, of course, H.P. Lovecraft. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about H.P. Lovecraft tonight because he came up with one of these, supposed to be one of the most interesting books of forbidden knowledge. And so I have to email you my address. I didn't get that yet. Okay. Overbuilt, you do that, sir. And absolutely, okay. Don't forget to do that. And we'll get that squared away. Yes, sir. That guy that played Starman was supposed to have had a huge occult library. Oh, yeah. You're talking about Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee supposedly did, yeah. He was a collector of books. He was a fascinating guy. That son of a gun, he may have been actually, a lot of people don't realize this, he may have been the prototype, the inspiration for James Bond. Christopher Lee, because he was a real spy back in World War II, and he was really good friends with Ian Fleming. And they think that pretty well he was the inspiration for James Bond, because Ian Fleming knew about the things he did and all that. Very interesting. I would love to have met Christopher Lee. He's one of my favorite actors. The man was a brilliant. He was brilliant. I mean, he knew a lot of different languages, a lot of different stuff. And he gives. If you can see it, I think it's somewhere on the internet where he warns people about not messing around with the occult, and devil worship and all these. He warns people don't get into that. He's a very smart man. He knew what he was talking about. Absolutely. Although he made most of his money and most of his fame was on horror movies, and mostly Dracula, by the way. And he was a good Dracula. Of course, my favorite will always be Bela Lugosi. I have several favorites. Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee was another one, definitely. I'll tell you somebody else who did a very fantastic job with Dracula, believe it or not, and that was what's his name? I can't think of his name now. Anyway, he's usually in westerns, but Jack Palance, I couldn't think of his name. He did a fantastic job with Dracula, actually. If you've never seen that, you might want to check it out. Of course, most of the ladies like Frank Langella, because he was very sexy Dracula in that respect. Hello, Sharon Lane. Good to have you here. Anyway, the reason I brought up Mist is because Mist, the movie itself, and I was going to bring it up because a lot of people might remember that. I don't know if you're that familiar with the works of H.P. Lovecraft, but he was big on something called Cthulhu. That's how you pronounce it, by the way, Cthulhu. And he was supposed to be an ancient god that was the god of all gods. He's terribly evil and terrible and horrible. And his name is Cthulhu. People try to pronounce it Cthulhu because there's a C on there. But actually, H.P. Lovecraft himself pronounced it Cthulhu. Okay. I think the C was silent. But anyway, he's a bad dude. But they were called the Pantheon of the Old Gods. And we're going to talk about that in a little while because I'm going to save that for last. The very famous Necronomicon. Okay, but we're going to save that for last. We got some other ones we want to take care of first. And let me bring up some photos here of some of this stuff I've got for you. And here is one very interesting one here. Are any of you familiar with the Giga Codex? Do you know what that is? The Giga Codex. That is Latin for giant book. And it is also has another title, the Devil's Bible. Are any of you familiar with that? I'd like to know what happened to Christopher Lee's library after that. Probably got sold off in an auction. I wouldn't doubt it. That's the way those libraries go sometimes. Anyway, and then this one is closed to the public, the White Sands Missile Range. Huh? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff, freaky stuff goes on there. I think I used to have 17 original first editions of H.P. Lovecraft books from 17 there. Oh, those would be very valuable, probably. Absolutely. Heard of the Bible. Well, the Bible is one of those books, supposedly. We're going to be talking about that later. It's one of the books of supposedly forbidden knowledge. There's supposed to be stuff in there you're not supposed to know. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, there are a lot of evil books out there, okay? And I have here in my possession, I meant to bring it up and I forgot it. It's over there somewhere. The most evil book ever written. And I'm going to ask you all, what do you think it is? The most evil book that was ever written. I have it right here. I have a copy of it. I've read it. And it is evil. This book has killed more people, has taken more lives caused more starvation, hunger, death, pain, terrible suffering than any other book known to mankind. Do any of you want to guess what that book is? Yes, I'm gonna get back to the Giga Codex here in just a minute, but I was gonna ask you about. Do you know what book I'm talking about here? No, I do have Malus Maleficarium, the Hammer of Witches. It is evil because of the way it actually tells you how to condemn people and all that. That's the basis of it. It was supposedly published by the Witchfinder General Matthew Hopkins. Uh, it is an evil book because of the very precepts of it were used in Salem witchcraft trials and other witchcraft trials. Uh, it is one of the most evil books, but it isn't the number one most evil books. Okay. Overbuilt says Dennis saw Sexy Jockey may think of the song Elvira, Oak Ridge Boys, 20 something. Towards the baby, I would cry on his top. Mom was Danny Seaman's song Elvira. Oh, yeah, I remember Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys. Yeah. I remember Elvira and the Mistress of the Dark, too. Ooh, yeah. Red Book of Happen. No, but we're getting close here. The most evil book in the world. It has caused more death and suffering than any other book. Now you think what it might possibly be. No, it's not the Bible. Although the Bible has caused a lot of problems over the years because of the way men have interpreted it and used excuses that they've used for it, definitely. The book I'm talking about, the most evil book in the world ever written, is the Communist Manifesto. Ever heard of it? It's really not much of a book, by the way. It's more like a pamphlet than anything else. It's not that big of a book. It's more like a brochure, a very large brochure. But it has caused more trouble, more pain and suffering and death than any other book ever written. None of them can hold a candle to it. Absolutely not. Yeah, the Black Pullet's another one. We're not going to get too deep into these evil books that much tonight, but there are some we definitely want to talk about. And of course, that's one. We're not going to get into the Communist Manifesto. But Mein Kampf would be a second. Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler would be a very close second in the way of evil books. Absolutely. That caused a lot of problems too. Excuse me, I'm bleeding here a little bit. I bleed good. Anyway, um, the whole thing about it is there are many evil books out there. And the thing about the Giga Codex, the large book, is a very strange book. Let me bring the thing up on that. Yeah, I thought the most famous part of it is, of course, the devil portrait supposedly in it. Let me bring that up for you here. And of course, another supposed evil book, although some people may argue with you about that, is the very famous Book of Shadows. A lot of people in witchcraft use that. The Book of Shadows, sort of a witch's Bible. Some people claim it to be very supposedly evil as well. Too much Dennis over there might pop in on you and attack you. I hit a little place I had on my arm, and I bleed really good. I got so much drugs in me, I bleed very well. But anyway, hello, Moony Noon. Good to have you here. But anyway, yeah, the Giga Codex is very interesting. It is like 3 feet long, a little over 3 feet long, and about almost that wide. And it's supposedly, they've studied it over the years. It was written back in medieval times. And they think it may have been written, handwritten, by the way, by a monk. And it was only one monk. And this is a book of tremendous size. And I think it took like 169 donkey skins. This book is written on donkey skins, by the way. Okay. That's sort of like a papyrus in a way. I think it took 169 donkey skins to make this book. Think about that. That's wild. Hello, Cryptid Huntress. I just asked somebody the other day, what in the world ever happened to Jessica Jones? I'll have to go look for her one of these days. But there she is. She's popped back up again. Good to have you back. I hope you had fun in Florida. Anyway, yeah, definitely. The Giga Codex is a very strange book. And oh yeah, by the way, Jessica, I sent you a message. Check it out when you get a chance. Okay, you might find it interesting. Anyway, I'm back from the Florida conference. Yeah, we heard about. Yeah, we heard about that conference. I think it was quite a success. Definitely, you helped that out. Okay, but anyway, that is a very interesting book. And the reason it has the Devil's Bible tag on it is because of that very same picture in it. It has a lot of other things, and it has some history to it. It's a fascinating book. I have always wanted to read that book because of the stuff that's in it. And it is online now, by the way. I was going to let you all know that. I don't know exactly what the link is for it, but when I do find it, if you're interested, I'll let you know. But it is online. You can read it. Okay. And maybe one day I will get the time. I would love to read it. It is a fascinating book. Absolutely. Now I'm going to turn my attention now to another one of my favorite forbidden ancient books. This one has a lot of intrigue and mystery to it. I think some of you might know what I'm talking about here. And it's the Book of Thoth. Thoth. It's an Egyptian book. And I'm going to read you something about it here. Hold on just a second. And I have to pull it up on my Facebook. If you haven't seen my Facebook lately, you need to check it out. I got a lot of interesting stuff on there. Okay. Here's what it says about the Book of Thoth. That's Thoth. That's how you spell that. Ancient Egyptian legends speak of a mysterious text known as the Book of Thoth, said to contain all the secrets of the universe. Some researchers speculate this lost book might be more than mystical lore. Could it be a manual for advanced technology? Ancient astronaut theorists propose that this book might contain instructions for nanotechnology, explaining how ancient Egyptians achieved seemingly impossible engineering feats. If such a book exists, it could revolutionize our understanding of ancient knowledge. The search continues, with some believing it's hidden in a secret chamber somewhere, waiting to be rediscovered. The Book of Thoth. Very interesting, huh? Now, this is different from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Okay, I have that. I have the Egyptian Book of the Dead around here somewhere. It's a completely different thing. The Book of Thoth supposedly has a lot of very ancient, and we're talking about prehistory information in it. And another interesting thing when you talk about these ancient books, you've got to bring up, of course, the library at Alexandria. The library at Alexandria would be something I definitely would have liked to got into. And there are rumors to this day that there are hidden tunnels in Alexandria that where some of the papyrus and some of the scrolls still exist from the original library. Now, if you're familiar with the book, with the movie, one of my favorite movies, National Treasure, you might remember the Book of Presidents. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The Book of Presidents led them to the Grand Canyon where they found the greatest treasure the United States ever had, and the biggest part of that treasure were scrolls from the Library of Alexandria. You might remember that movie. That's a great Nicolas Cage movie, by the way. The second one was okay. The second one was okay. The first one was good too. I liked them both, really. Really, they're almost like one movie, the way they were put together. How that and Egyptian Book of the Magic, also Awakening Osiris. Okay, be careful with those books. Okay, be careful what you read. You don't want to open any doorways. Okay, the Seven Keys of Solomon. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. The grimoires, not to be confused with the Grigori. The Grigori is another name for the fallen angels, and we're going to talk about them because you got to talk about the Grigori in relation to the Grimoire. The Grimoire, it means books of the fallen. The Grimoire. Those are actually like the Red Dragon, and etc. We're going to talk about those in a few minutes. But getting back to the, you might remember the old Mommy movie, okay? The one with Boris Karloff. Don't you remember they found a scroll, and the scroll was something supposed to be kind of like the Book of the Dead? And they read the scroll, and that's what brought the mommy back to life. Of course, with the tana leaves. The tana leaves they had to brew and pour in his dough, and it brought the mommy back to life. Okay. That's sort of another one of those supposed forbidden books. Okay. That is, well, a lot of the Hollywood movies have little pieces of truth in them like that. And we're going to get to that in a few minutes. But anyway, the book on alchemy, Hermes, Transmittus, yeah. There are many books like that. Like I said, we could be here all night talking about how many there are, but I'm just hitting some of the highlights here. But absolutely, the Book of Thoth would be very interesting to find, without a doubt. Coming up, we have, let's see what we got next here. Let's see what this is here. Let's see. That's a little. Let's see. Actually, I was going to show that. Yeah, that's H.P. Lovecraft. Okay, and he's holding a book, and we're going to talk about that because that's my favorite one. There, that's the Necronomicon. Now, the Necronomicon, supposedly written by the mad Arab Abdul Azar, supposedly is what contains the formula that will allow the old gods, the old ones, to come back into this world or this universe and take over everything again, which means they would, of course, destroy mankind and all that other stuff. That's it. But now it is said that the Necronomicon was a made-up book, made up by H.P. Lovecraft. But then some people say, some scholars say, he didn't make it up. He heard about it somewhere, but he never actually found the book. That it really, truly does exist. But let me talk a minute about the Necronomicon and why it makes it kind of interesting. It is bound in human skin, and it's supposed to be the skin of a very powerful warrior. A wizard, a warrior and a wizard. And the book is bound. The covers are bound in his skin, and the bookmark of the Necronomicon is his tongue. Okay, you're talking about a very, very evil book here. Okay, and it has a lot of supposed things about it. Now, when you get to the grimoires such as the Red Dragon and the Lesser Key of Solomon and the Greater Key of Solomon, and so on, the different ones. The worst one of all supposedly is the Red Dragon, the grimoire of the Red Dragon, because it gives you the correct and accurate formulas in which to raise demons Believe me, folks, you do not want to go there. Okay, you do not want to raise demons, no matter what. But you're supposed to be able to get power over them. They say, of course, according to ancient legends, King Solomon had power over demons and got them to do what he wanted them to. Now, this is Jewish folklore. Okay, this is Hebrewic folklore. We don't know. I don't think this was really true. But here's the bad thing about Solomon. He was a brilliant man. God gave him supposedly super intelligence. Okay. And unfortunately, when you get too smart, it's like that old saying, too smart for your britches, which is what happened with Solomon. You can go a bad way, supposedly. And of course, King Solomon, supposedly, with so many wives that he had, and I thought he was supposed to be smart. But anyway, all these wives he had, some of them, unfortunately, were witches and sorceresses. And they led him supposedly in bad avenues of thinking. We'll put it that way. And that's supposedly what happened with Solomon. But he did not actually write the Red Dragon or the Lesser Key and all that. He didn't write that. They're supposed to be based on some of his forbidden, hidden writings. Now, that's what the word occult means, by the way. It means covered, hidden knowledge. Information hidden from you. That's what the word occult means. Of course, it's now used in a broader term. Okay. People say occult and it's supposed to cover a whole lot of stuff. And it can be used that way, but mainly that's what it means. It means covered knowledge, hidden knowledge. But it's very interesting anyway. Let's see, inherently gross things. Heard it from the Ali's wife, whom H.P. Lovecraft had an affair with. Yeah, I heard about that. Freaking evil things are inherently gross things. Morbid book to tongue for a bookmark, huh? Yeah. There are actually items in museums that are made out of human skin. I know there's a lot of them. I think even one serial killer actually skinned a man and wore his skin because he wanted to become that man. He had such a fixation on him. He wanted to become that man. After he ate him, he took his skin and wore his skin. He became that man. I mean, it's weird, freaky psychological stuff here, folks. Okay. That's the way it goes with serial killers and people who make forbidden books. Okay. But anyway, that's Necronomicon. Yep. I hear cult and automatically evil. Well, actually, it doesn't mean it's not a blanket for evil. It just means hidden knowledge. But it can be that a lot of times this knowledge is hidden because it is an evil knowledge, like the Red Dragon. To me, that would be a dangerous book to fool around with. Okay, if you can raise demons with it, you do want to do that. That's not a good hobby, folks. Okay, trust me. It will only lead to your ultimate destruction because knowing demons for what they truly are, they're not going to let you get the upper hand. They're not going to ever be under your power. Okay, even though Dr. John D tried that. Okay, and some other men down through history have tried that, and Solomon may have tried it. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it's not a good idea because that's just the way that the forces of darkness work. They're, and like I've said this before, I think I said this during the seminar the other night. It's like a gambling casino. You may go in, you may spend $500 and win 100. Who wins in the end? Who really wins in the end? Not you. You spent $500. The house wins $400. The house always wins. That's just the way that works. And that's the way it goes with the house of evil. The house of evil always tends to try to win. They always want the upper hand. Or as my grandmother used to say, if you give the devil an inch, he'll take the whole yardstick. That's just the way it works. And that's the way his minions work. They're not going to let you have power over them. No, definitely not. Just like the government is not going to be upfront and truthful with you. They're not going to share their secrets with you. The government's not going to let you in on their true secret knowledge. That would be foolish, would it be? Would it not? That's just the way they look at things. That's the way they operate. And so do the forces of darkness, especially when it comes to these type of books. Absolutely. So we've got to remember that's the way the game is played. Absolutely. But that red dragon grimoire is a bad thing. I would not recommend having it even in your house. Okay, I do not have a copy. I have a copy of it somewhere, but purely for scholarly reasons, I do not practice that. Okay, absolutely. But that, of course, leads us to the Necronomicon. Yes, the Necronomicon. Does it truly exist? I believe it may in one form. It may not actually be called the Necronomicon. But I do believe it is a combination of different writings and lost grimoires mainly, probably. That's probably what it is, basically. But it has to do with the elder gods, the eldritch forces in the universe, and it has to do with raising demons and all that other fun stuff that some of these people like to do. Okay. And I say that sarcastically, okay? But anyway, that's some of the worst books. But here's the thing you got to always remember, okay, folks? You never judge a book by its cover. Okay, there's some things you do not do in this universe. Okay, you don't pull on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't around with a guy named Jim. Okay, and you do not grind up bugs and make flour and tell me the biscuits are fine. Okay, you don't do that, and you definitely don't bring a knife to a gunfight. And you do not want to go around reading some of these books. Okay, trust me, some of this stuff is best left alone. Absolutely. Oh yeah, the Book of 50 Names. I feel that way about the official Bible we are giving them, but not all. Well, there are reasons why some things were left out of the Bible. Now, I'm going to tell you this about some of the Gnostic stuff. Okay, the Gnostic stuff were actually detrimental to the early church. I can understand why they wanted to leave some of that Gnostic stuff out because it was a bunch of made up junk. And it was made up mainly by the forces of darkness to destroy this new religion called Christianity. It was done then for a purpose. It was a plan. And that's why they left some of these books out. But some of them were very old books, like the Book of Enoch, the different ones. I'm not going to get into the name of all of them now, but there's, which ones I'm talking about. They were left out of the Bible. They were left out because, unfortunately, some of them were rooted in Hebrewic Jewish folklore. And they said a lot of this can't be substantiated because it is folklore. But like I've always said, there is a certain amount of truth in folklore. There is a foundation of truth. But that's just the way the Nicene People's Council looked at the Bible before they approved these things. They left a lot of that stuff out. Now, the original Roman Catholic Bible kept a lot of those books in. The Book of Thoth, the Book of Enoch, the Book of the Angels, all that stuff. They left some of that in. But the Protestant church did not do that. But they had reasons. But some of them were not very valid. Enoch, yeah. And they don't want to make biscuits made with those nuts. No, you wouldn't want to do that. I was going to tell you something, and this kind of a thing off to the side here, because we're getting close to the end of the book thing here. But I want to tell you something that we need to talk about in a little bit. Let's go ahead and finish the books up before I get into that, because this is freaky stuff too. Okay, but anyway, you was a practitioner for 35 years. I'm glad you got out of that, Urza, because it will wrap your soul in chains of darkness. It will subvert you and twist you and bend you to the wrong directions every time. I'm glad you do not do that anymore. And I hope you're never tempted to go back to it, because I have said this before and I will say it one more time for everybody to hear. Okay. The force of darkness in this universe is the most addictive thing that exists. When darkness truly gets a hold of you, it is incredibly hard to pull away from it. I think only God can help you do that. Okay. All right. Only goodness can help you pull away from it because it is more addictive than meth, fentanyl, anything, cocaine, whatever the situation, morphine. This darkness is much more addictive. Don't play with it. Don't pick it up and handle it. Because if you try to put it down, you'll find your hands are stained. And you don't want to get in that situation. Absolutely not. Yeah, spiritual warfare. It takes spiritual warfare to fight and combat these things. Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, you can have the largest ship in the world floating on the ocean out there right now, but if water gets in it, where's this going? Where's it going to go? Okay. Well, you're just like that ship. And if negativity breaches the hull, you're going to sink. Too much negativity is going to send you to the bottom. Okay. And you don't want to go that route. You don't want to mess with that. Okay. Don't forget that. So it says, and believe me, you got to really know, you got to get your ducks in a row when you want to do spiritual warfare. You better know exactly where you're coming from, where you're going. Okay. I get what you mean. Most would have stained as bad, makes you heavy. Oh, yes, it gets you. It will wrap chains of darkness around your soul, and those chains are incredibly hard to break. Some people never break them that get involved with that. It will doom your soul very quickly. That's the price you pay. Okay. And believe me, the different levels that you take and the higher up you go. And it's just like, Jessica was talking the other night about the very good show she did, her and Barry did on the secret containment facilities. And she was talking about the big cats and all that. That's one of the things in witchcraft, that the shapeshifter powers that you can obtain will turn you into a large tiger or lion like thing. The big cats, that's part of it, yeah. And I think a lot of these big Black Panther sightings may be actually tied into a lot of that stuff as well. But these are the books with forbidden knowledge, supposedly. Forbidden because, not because they don't want you to have that knowledge, because it may be misused. That's why. If you misuse it, you will pay a price for it. Absolutely. Just like anything else in this world, though. You can build a house with a hammer, or you can bust your head in with it. Uh, it depends on what you do with it. Don't do that, though, by the way. That hurts. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't do the hammer any good either. But you got to remember, it's just the intention behind a lot of things. That's what tells the whole story. You don't call demons, you call gods from another world, often dimensional beings. Well, yeah, some of that, but some of it are supposed to be lesser type demons. They're mainly lesser gods too. The Necronomicon has the real Necronomicon I'm talking about, not the one made up by supposedly H.P. Lovecraft. The real Necronomicon is probably made up off of lost grimoires. That's what I'm talking about. It's probably the real one is if it does exist as the Necronomicon. Uh, the one that H.P. was interested in is the one that calls up the old elder gods and stuff like that from other dimensions and all that good fun stuff. But anyway, by the way, that reminds me, and I need to watch it again one day. It used to be an older movie about that. Was what was the Dunwich Horror? That was a good movie. I need to rewatch that again. One, it was a pretty good movie. It deals a lot with that and the family that was involved with that, and it stays pretty close to the H.P. Lovecraft book, Dunwich Horror. One of my favorite things that he did. My absolute favorite is um, that he did that I like the best is the one about the artist that draws demons. You know, and he was actually drawing them from real life. That was one of my favorite, actually. Pickman's Model. That's my favorite all time H.P. Lovecraft. And he did so many good ones. It's hard to pick out a favorite. He was good. He was very good. And he was a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe too, by the way. Yeah. Acquiring knowledge is important, but it's only solely occult that can change a person's character. Well, yeah. You can look for power in all the wrong, like love. Okay, you can look for power in all the wrong places. Okay, be very careful how you approach that. Absolutely. But anyway, that's the ancient books on forbidden knowledge. There, we just touched on a few, but they're interesting, and I advise you to do some more research on it. It's a fascinating subject, and worthwhile checking out. Yes, it sucks. Darkness is so insidious, coverly so. Absolutely overbuilt. Darkness is what you don't want to play around with, okay? Because it will not play with you in the end. Absolutely. It's not going to cut you a break. Nope. It just don't work that way. But anyway, I was going to talk to you about something else here we were talking about the other day. And here's something that's kind of bad to think about, okay? And we are slowly in this world, slowly, little bit by little bit, day after day, turning into plastic. Okay. I was reading an article just the other day. How much plastic is being found in the human body? We're talking about microplastics now. And they were talking about tea leaves, tea bags. They said it was better to make your tea out of loose leaves than using tea bags because the tea bags are coated with plastic to keep the leaves from coming out of it. But when you drink a cup of tea from that, you're drinking a certain amount of plastic. Well, that holds true for a lot of items in this world. I'll say this to you, ladies out there. When you use a tampon, you're using a lot of plastic. You're letting a lot of plastic into your body. Okay? That's just the way this goes. That's the way this whole world is going. They are finding microplastic in people's hearts, lungs, in the sperm count of males. They are finding plastic everywhere in this world. They have even found plastic in ice caves in the Antarctic where no man ever set foot. They're finding microplastics there. Microplastic. We are slowly turning into plastic. What do you all feel about that, huh? Let's see. I'm gonna read what Urso says here. Typhonian Auto Trilogy, not so. Well, you seem to be a very big HP fan, huh? Yeah. The Color Out of Space. Yeah. You know, Nicolas Cage did a movie about that. A pretty good movie. Water bottles that we buy, microplastics, but everything. They are turning us into plastic. We are turning into plastic. Lead and arsenic recently found in menstrual products as well. Oh yeah. Why are they doing this? This is crazy stuff here. Well, this all comes out to the big bucks, of course. Money. That's what it all comes down to. But they don't care if they destroy us in their pursuit of money. They don't care. But everybody is turning in to plastic. And you can't get away from it. No matter what you eat, drink, sleep in. Have you noticed some of these pajamas you have now? I don't know if you wear pajamas or not. Well, some of these pajamas, I've heard people complain about them. They buying this, and they're buying them from China. Okay, they said the pajamas are changing their skin. The dye is leaching out of the pajamas, and I guess you sweat a little bit or something, while you're sleeping or whatever, and it's leaching out and coloring their skin. Think about that a minute. That can't be good. Okay, Come on. John Fulton says those in charge of us have been so incompetent in pursuit of cheap convenience. There's little we people can do to avoid the materials that are the weave and weft of the modern world. Absolutely, we are stuck with it. Just like what happened today. You might have heard what happened today. There was a big glitch in the electronic sectors, and it knocked down. Kept a lot of planes from flying. Took down a lot of 911 services, all kinds of stuff. Okay. There was a big brouhaha about that today. Our civilization, folks, hangs by a very thin thread. Okay, it does. I'm it's very precarious. That sounds bad, but it's true. And it wouldn't take much to break that thread. Okay, we gotta understand that. And by the way, Costco. I was gonna give you all a little heads up on this. If you got a Costco, I think for $79 is now selling what's called a survival bucket of food. And this is dried, dehydrated food. And I think there's something like a doggone year's supply in this thing. And they're called survival buckets because they're all stacked in like a big round bucket kind of container. But Costco is selling these things, I think, for $79.95. And that one might be a good idea to look into that. I'm talking about not just the world going blue, but, in case there's some kind of natural disaster or something. It sounds like it's got some pretty good food in there. You got, but it's all freeze dried. All you got to do is rehydrate it, add water to it, and you got a good meal. You might want to think about that. Okay, that would not be a bad idea to have that in your closet. Okay. They even gets up on it first. Probably increases aggressive behavior as well. Girl in school, tie a tampon on the back of my leather biker. Yeah, but everyone's laughing at me during lunch, and I figured out she said, well, I don't know, 3 days off. Good Lord. You got some interesting friends there, Overbuilt. They even put catch on it first. Look to the sun. Solar fires costing just yeah. Australia still all shut down with everything. Yeah, I heard about that. I'll see. Yeah. You buy beans cheap and easy store. Yeah, beans are good, but I like dried. They rehydrating that. You don't have to worry too much about that. You could store that 4 or 5 years, and not touch it until absolutely needed. That's a good idea to look at. Of course, I have my larder full. I have a lot of canned goods. The main thing is do not buy tomatoes. Tomatoes have acid in them. They have a little bit of acid, and they're not good in cans after very long. But some things you can store in cans for 2 or 3 years, definitely. Just don't have any acidic type stuff. Canned corn is good, beans, potatoes, just regular vegetables, stuff like that. My favorite, of course, is baked beans. I like the original country. I'll make beans. That's the world. You have to tell people not to use a hairdryer in the shower or do not put hands in garbage. But my favorite one or so is the label on the baby jumpers that said "Take the baby out before you wash it." Do you have to tell people this? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's nature's way of culling the herd. Okay. You can also plant dried beans. Oh yeah, you can plant something like that. You can grow lettuce easy. You can grow a lot of things easy. If you try. Absolutely. You can even grow pineapples if you do it right. I love pineapples. I've always envisioned having a nice pineapple plantation in Hawaii, and I would just go out in the morning, every morning, and cut me a pineapple for breakfast. You know what I mean? But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that about the books of forbidden knowledge. And if you run up on any more we didn't cover, let me know. I might buy me one I missed. You hate pineapple. Oh, Lord, I love pineapples. Fresh pineapple. Not the kind in the cans. Oh, you're going some potted pineapples, huh? Good. I might come eat with you there, Joker. Huh? Now, eat Tide Pods. No, don't eat the Tide Pods. They give you indigestion, okay? I like to try grilled pineapple. Looks delicious. Yeah, that grilled looks pretty good. Yeah, you just cut slice top pineapple with leaves. Yeah, you cut the leaves off and plant it. It's very easy to plant. Yeah. You love strawberries. Oh, yeah, I love. Now, the trick on the strawberries, okay? A lot of people mess up on that and make a mistake. They go get those big strawberries. No. Get the little strawberries. They're sweeter and they're much better. Don't waste your time on those big strawberries. They have no taste to them, hardly. I mean, and that's the way nature goes with everything. The smaller it is, the sweeter and better tasting it is. That's why people go in with these big tomatoes. That's ridiculous. They taste like cardboard. You know what I mean? I like a tomato, like maybe softball size, maybe maybe a regular baseball size. Yeah, I don't want any bigger than that. It makes a perfect sandwich or salad. That's ridiculous. The bigger they think it's just because it's big, it's better, and that's not necessarily true. Yeah. Now, pina colada with a pineapple on the side is good. Yeah. Pina colada. Yes, sir. It's my favorite tropical drink. Yeah, you kind of hang a piece of pineapple on the straw there, But anyway, you all guys are getting me hungry here. Okay. Let's go in there and look for fruit. I don't have any fruit in here. Darn it. But anyway, I still have my fruit punch. Yeah. But anyway, we had lots of raspberries this year going in. I love blackberries too. That's my favorite. Of course, seeds are kind of get bad, but I love blackberries. And thirsty. We're making pineapple delight dessert for potluck on Saturday. Oh God, I need to come eat with you. Yeah, it's the only way a big tomato tastes good is at home. Goes in really good soil vine wrap. Yeah. Uh, I do not buy tomatoes from California because they have absolutely no taste to them. Why, I don't know. That's the commercial grown. Commercial grown anything is not good. It's better if you grow it yourself. And it's just like making your own food. It's better to make your own food at home than to buy it somewhere else because you know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? Is your niece gonna have to bring you some fruit tomorrow? Absolutely. Those peaches are gone, dear. Okay, been gone a long time. Okay, I love peaches. Oh yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved, especially canned peaches. I love those things. Oh yeah, I can eat those till the cows come home. Absolutely. Somebody's going to get some cheese and cracker there. All right, that sounds like a good idea. Well, I will really appreciate you all being here tonight, joining us for episode 29 of Paranormal Point of View. Ancient books of hidden knowledge. Absolutely. A very interesting subject. And we're getting close now. Don't forget, July 31st. We're going to have Dacre Stoker. Yep. I've been reading his book. This is the book he wrote that's sort of the sequel to Bram Stoker's Dracula, if you're not familiar with it. It's called Dracula, the Undead, the sequel to the original classic. And it takes place years afterwards. Is Dracula really coming back? Is he returned or what? It's a fascinating book. I'm getting deep. I'm about halfway into it. And I also have Mr. Dacre Stoker's other book, Dracula. And it's even immortals have their beginnings. This is supposed to be the beginning of Dracula, how he got started and all that. So that sounds very fascinating too. This guy knows his stuff, absolutely. Hopefully, we will have a great, fantastic interview with him. Yep. Okay, thank you, Aussie Sue. I want to thank you, Ursula and Crystal Carol. Yeah, thank you, Crystal Carol Cleveland. Thank you. Wonderful podcast. Don't forget to go hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Absolutely. Like, comment later. That helps the algorithm. The algorithm. If you come on and just say something a little afterwards. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, John Fortman. Well, the dog said they would like to buy too. Okay. And, well, I appreciate you all being here, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Don't get in any trouble if you can help it now. Okay. And we will see you back here next week. We'll also have, I don't know, Gerald, I think it's going to surprise me, but we're going to have another episode of The Road Less Traveled Monday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Be there or be square. Okay. And I'm going to give you some final thought to think about before I sign off here. You can think about this tonight before you doze off and go to sleep or whatever. Science says that the nothing between atoms that make us is 99.99.99.99% nothing. So, in other words, according to science, you're mostly not here. Think about that, okay? But what you are occupying, okay, make it count, okay? All right. And until we get together again, then, remember, non tambo hour, fear no evil, okay? And remember, the doorways of perception are now open. Until we meet again, vaya con Dios.